From the very first time that I got my hands on a motherfucking heavy blaster from Star Wars Battlefront when it came down to the beta, I was hooked. I wanted to keep on killing Imperials left and right, in Walker Assault, because that's the only thing that was available at that time. I played in and day out with no regret. I skipped countless hours of sleep and rest just to kill more Imperials and Rebels when it came down to it, if the time was motherfucking right. But that's not what this commentary is about, and how much joy I took, over, the beta itself, and even some of the multiplayer aspects of, the game when it came down to its release date. No. This motherfucking commentary is about the cut content, and I believe that I have discovered, what's wrong with this particular title, why people hate it so much, aside from the, obvious fact that this title that was offered to us has very, very little content, extremely little content, to the point that it's almost insulting to the fan base. If you're a Star Wars Battlefront fan, if you're a Star Wars fan, over the whole series, the movies and the games, this is a slap to the face to all the community. And I believe that I have discovered what the hell is wrong with this particular title, why people hate it so much, aside from the fact, again, that there's no content, that the two major most fun game modes in the game, which is Supremacy and Walker Assault, only have 4 maps, please. And I believe that I know why. And please bear with me. I know this it might sound crazy as shit. You might be thinking that I'm on some heavy drugs, but please just bear with me. I think I know what's happening here. I think that I know and I understand, and I want to make you understand what is going on. That way, when somebody else points out the fact that there's very little content in this game, you can tell them exactly what it is. So, I do want to give a little example when it comes down to this title, so you can kind of compare, what's going on really. Now, the example that I want to give, it was a very anticipated game. It was a very expensive game as well. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. It released last year, about a year ago, and it had very little content. And just like Star Wars Battlefront, it also was very good looking game. It was extremely well detailed. The gunfighting was solid. Just about any mechanics in the game were fun as shit. But when it came down to the content, when it came down to, depth wise, it was very hollow. It was very tedious when it came down to the story as well. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about now. That is Destiny. Now, Destiny was run by Bungie and Activision. And I will come out and say that I was kind of a fangirl when it came down to Bungie, because they were the ultimate caretakers and ultimate masterpiece, creators of the masterpiece that was Halo. I bought an Xbox solely because of Halo, and I don't regret it to this day. And, well, I'll take that back. Kind of like in Halo 5, I kind of did regret it on that particular title. But back in the day, it was a system seller, and I don't regret it. I don't regret buying an Xbox solely because of Halo 2 and Halo 3. It was awesome. It was part of my childhood. But they fucked it up with Destiny. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the fuck does Battlefront have to do with Destiny, Jacob? What is going on here? I'm not gonna bear with you if you don't give me a motherfucking answer right now. Well, I'm here to give you the answer. If you guys remember back in, like a year ago, when Bungie and Activision partnered up and finally gave us Destiny, the most anticipated game, of all time, that supposedly was going to change our lives and the way we play video games, on this open world, element, and other people would be able to join our fight against the motherfucking alien races that was trying to take over our planet, our last city of hope. They fucked it up at the end. And I don't think that, Battlefront's fuck up was a misfire. I don't think they didn't know what the fuck was going on. Now, what you have to understand is that, just like Bungie and Activision, these two companies are being run by very, very talented people. Not only from CEOs to the developers to the writers to whatever you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. These people, they're not up there on those positions just for the shits and giggles. No, they're up there because they have a talent. And I'm pretty sure at least one of them should have had a little bit of common sense and told maybe the CEO or maybe the lead writer or something, somebody in charge, that hey, Battlefront 3, I mean the new Battlefront, it has very little content. I mean the most fun game modes, which is Supremacy and Walker Assault, only have 4 maps to boot. What the hell is going on? Should we do something about it? And they decided not to. Now I believe I know why. Again, we're gonna go back to Bungie and Destiny, with Destiny as well, with Activision. Activision being, who runs Call of Duty, which we know, their business practices by now, to this point. And I think that Battlefront, the new Battlefront that we got, was not a misfire. I think they knew that people were gonna be pissed off at the fact that it had very little content. I think they knew that it was going to be a misfire and it was going to piss off the whole community, not including some of the key elements that made the previous Star Wars titles so much fun. Now I might sound like a motherfucking noob right now, but I have never played the previous Star Wars Battlefronts, which I've been told they've been great. Now the thing is, I wasn't such a big Star Wars, I guess, fanboy, I guess you could say, but now I am. Now I'm looking forward to the upcoming movie this December, which I already bought the tickets for because I've seen the previous films now. So I was excited about the game. I really wanted this game to succeed. I was willing to support it on my channel, but it failed. And I believe that it did the same thing that Destiny did. Because again, remember Destiny set the standards so low to the point that anything they do from this point on is gonna outdo the base game. It's gonna kill what was that initial offering that was given to us on day one, that was retail for $60, and then with that extra bullshit DLC with the Taken King and that other cut content, which is Dark Below and House of Wolves. I believe that Battlefront did the same thing. They're setting the standards so low from day one that whatever they do from this point on is gonna outdo the base game, and not by a significant amount. It's gonna outdo it by little key elements here and there that were taken out on purpose in order to be resold to us, maybe from DLC or maybe on Battlefront 2. And believe it, Battlefront 2 is already being worked on as we speak. It has been confirmed. Which again, it's a big slap in the face if you're a big Star Wars fan like I am now. It is a shame that big AAA companies like this had let this slide through. They knew that they were going to put themselves in the line of fire. But even though they knew that they were going to put themselves in the line of fire, that they were going to take a huge backlash from the community, they still took it out of the door and sold it to us for $60 with a huge retail DLC for $50. So you can imagine people's frustration with the game. And it was pretty clever on their part, because I'm not gonna lie, you give out very little content for the base game on day one, which sold for $60, and then people are gonna be from the average consumer to the average player, to I guess you could say the casual player, that they don't really know much about the controversies, the business practices, and how much they downgrade the games in order to make a bigger profit down the line. It's, I mean, how they do it intentionally. And even kids, they just go up to mommy and daddy and be like, "Mommy and daddy, I want the new DLC for Star Wars Battlefront." And mommy and daddy will do anything to shut the fucking kid up, and they'll do it, and they'll buy it, and they'll be just part of the problem at the end. So I believe it did this. I believe they did it on purpose, just like Destiny's misfire. Destiny's misfire, as we all know by this point on, and even though I was fanboying, over Bungie, back in the day, I know that these companies, which is Bungie and Activision, are being run by fucking dicks. And it's a shame that, DICE and EA are taking this, turn as well. Not so much for EA, because we all know the business practices when it comes down to EA. But DICE, that's what kind of killed it for me, because it kind of seemed like they cared about the community a little bit more. They would listen to the fact, to our feedback, and they would try to implement those, the feedback into the new game. But it's a shame. It's not like that anymore. Now, these two big companies that used to care about the customers, about their fan base, they're already partnering up with big AAA, companies like Activision and EA, and now we can see the outcome of, you know, this partnership, of this relationship that they have with these companies now. So again, I do believe that this was not done, you know, as a misfire. It wasn't a mistake that somebody did, that maybe somebody didn't pass on the word or the little note like we used to do back in high school. No, I believe they knew what they were doing. I believe this was their business plan. I believe that their plan was to sell us as little content as, you know, humanly possible, and then sell us an overpriced DLC so it can be tantalizing enough that, you know, hey, the base game today have enough content. Maybe if I buy the $50 DLC, it'll make up for the lack of content that was missing from day one, which, you know, again, retail for a full AAA, you know, $60, you know, tag. In my opinion, Star Wars Battlefront did not deserve that much money. At the most, it was worth $29.99. And I ain't gonna go in depth, you know, in the game and try to review, you know, the actual content, because it is kind of mediocre, you know, when it comes down to it. You know, you scratch the surface, and it is very little content. And what little content is there, it's absolutely tedious, and it just drifted away from what, you know, the previous Star Wars, you know, Battlefronts used to be all about. So please like and share the video if you enjoyed it. This is Jacob, logging off.